Hello all, as you know I'm Emma Carson, CIO of Texas Partners. As some of you may be aware, I recently attended a seminar on Bring Your Own Device or BYOD. Since the seminar I've taken a great interest in the subject, and my research has led me to believe that not only is there a place for BYOD at Texas Partners, but if we're not proactive about developing and implementing our own policies, we'll end up following our employees' rules rather than our own, and we'll forever be trying to play catch-up. On the agenda today, I'll take you through what BYOD is and how it is used, the risks, pros and cons, what we need to implement a BYOD policy and how best to manage it, the financial commitment required, what can go wrong and how we can allow for these risk areas, why BYOD is the only option for Texas Partners, and the lessons I've learned in the researching of this project. So, what am I asking of you today? Well, let's not stick our head in the sand. Today we need a financial commitment from management so we can drive the BYOD revolution to ensure the best outcome for Texas Partners. Let's make BYOD work for us. What is BYOD and how is it used? BYOD, Bring Your Own Device, is exactly what it says it is. Employees have the opportunity to bring their own device to work, whether it be a tablet, smartphone or personal laptop. This phenomena is being driven by the consumerization of technology. Our current IT policy at Texas Partners is to turn over our desktops and laptops every 3 to 5 years. So historically, this has been a far quicker turnover than what our employees would undertake personally. However, now, especially with the advent of the iPhone, iPad and other tablets on the market, people are consuming these devices far more rapidly than is realistically affordable within our business. Consumers, or our employees, want the latest and greatest in technology. So having a BYOD policy strategy will harness this revolution in new technology. And more to the point, this revolution is already gaining momentum. So take a walk around any of our offices across Australia and you'll notice on nearly every desk, apart from the prescribed desktops, there's some form of computing device, whether it be a smartphone or a tablet. Undoubtedly, although strictly against company policy, employees email data between their work and personal devices already. So we can't stem the tide, so we need to embrace this movement and develop a sound policy to secure our data network. What are the risks? Security, security, security. I cannot stress enough the importance of the risk of security. The biggest risk we face at Texas Partners is security breaches, and this is where our investment in infrastructure is important to help us mitigate this risk. The pros include, as I said, the latest and greatest technology. We can use this to our benefit. Includes reduced capital expenditure. We no longer need to purchase desktops. And increased employee satisfaction and employee productivity. And you see this every day, whether you're queuing up for a coffee or waiting for a train, you see people around you accessing their work files on their smartphones or tablets. Research shows that BYOD significantly increases employee productivity. The cons: there's a difficulty in implementing acceptable usage policies. It's hard to dictate what employees are allowed to look at or what apps they can download when they're using their own device. Information security, again, BYOD can leave holes for security breaches. And it is a shared device. We've got to remember that there will be personal and corporate data stored on the device. So what do we need to do to implement a BYOD policy? I won't bore you with the nitty-gritty of infrastructure, but basically we need to install network access control technology combined with mobile device management software, NAC and MDM, two terms you'll become familiar with. This will allow IT to monitor and track all devices connected to the network. Devices connected to the network via NAC will have a tiered access based on the device identification, and this will minimize the security risk. How best should we manage BYOD? In order to best manage this strategy, we require investment, buy-in from all tiers of the company, and momentum to stay ahead of the pack. We will aim for a device-agnostic organisation that focuses on enabling productivity rather than enabling specific hardware. We need to plan well to develop a sound policy. We need to communicate carefully and in detail with all members of the company, and we need to run a trial period and assess how our planning and communication has worked. Make adjustments where necessary and roll it out across the organisation. The financial commitment. And I know many of your eyes glaze over once you see a spreadsheet like this on the screen. But to give you a brief synopsis, for an outlay of $10 million in the first year, we can assume a payback period of 4 years and 266 days, a net present value of $4.7 million, an internal rate of return of 16.46%, and a profitability index of 1.47. Basically, what this indicates is that a BYOD rollout commencing in 2014 is a financially viable project. Feel free to have a more in-depth look at this and contact me with any questions. So I hear you all saying, what can go wrong? Well, I've outlined 3 scenarios in which the figures I've just shown you could get blown out of proportion. The first is an increase in legal costs due to security breaches. One of our largest outlays is for software, and this includes the NAC system and mobile device management software. These will allow us to effectively compartmentalise information on any device, separating personal and corporate data. So in the case of a lost phone or an employee removed from office, we have the ability to wipe all corporate data from their device. The risk is that this is incorrectly implemented and we leave ourselves open to liability. So great care, preparation and trialling of this software must be undertaken before a complete rollout of BYOD across Texas partners. Obviously, with most information systems we can only mitigate risk. There will always be residual risk. The second scenario is due to communication of our BYOD policies. I've doubled the amount allocated for support in this sensitivity analysis to demonstrate the effect that an unsound communication policy has on any change of this nature. We must ensure employees understand what it is we're trying to achieve and what their rights and obligations are under a BYOD strategy. This will ensure our IT support is not inundated with irrelevant help desk inquiries. Finally, I've conducted an analysis with reduced estimated enhancements in employee productivity. This will be our biggest threat. This would be due to a reduced take-up of BYOD amongst our employees. We need to ensure we get buy-in from staff in order to implement a successful strategy and ensure all our figures stack up. If people are confused by our program or the security requirements are too cumbersome, then we risk losing the increases in productivity that we hope to achieve. As with all the analysis, we need to be careful and considered with our initial approach. So why is BYOD the only option? Firstly, the pros outweigh the cons. Secondly, if you refer back to our financial analysis, you'll note that only in the third scenario, which involves a complete communication catastrophe, the figures stack up. This is a financially viable endeavour. And finally, we have to move with the times. The Australian newspaper reported in May of this year on the success of Kevin Rudd's digital education revolution in schools, where every secondary student has access to a computing device. In many private schools around the country, it's now obligatory to provide a tablet. Joe Sweeney, an analyst for Intelligent Business Research Services, said the BYOD wave in education was inevitable. Students expect to be able to access information on any device. Meanwhile, the Southport School on the Gold Coast is one example of a successful BYOD implementation. Joe Inglis, TSS Head of Learning and Teaching, says that this tech-savvy generation wants to use their own device for study. The implementation of the policy at this school is preparing the workforce for the future. Miss Inglis says today's students may have 3 or more devices at their disposal, one often on their person or under their pillow 24/7. Now this is our future at Texas Partners, so we need to be proactive rather than reactive. Let's harness the momentum of this revolution and make sure we maximise the benefits for our business. Let us make the rules, not them. So what lessons have I learnt from the researching of this project? Develop your policies well, and don't be afraid to make changes to them. And we certainly don't want another Queensland health disaster on our hands. And most importantly, communication is king. The biggest lesson learned is the momentum by which the IT world is adapting to meet the needs and wants of consumers. According to an article from 2012 from the CPA Practice Advisor magazine, 31% of accounting firms in the USA have a generic BYOD policy. It also revealed that a recent survey conducted on fully employed 20 to 29-year-olds worldwide, our up-and-coming CPAs and CAs, indicated that 74% consider BYOD to be common, and 55% say it is a right rather than a privilege to BYOD. As I said earlier, you cannot stem the tide, so why start trying now? We need to develop our policies well and ensure effective rollout to all tiers of the business. So let's use our money now to secure our future. Thank you.